Sagittarius, have you ever felt as if someone was watching you, even when you're completely alone? You may not even know it, but someone has taken a photo of you, whispered something over it, and from that very moment, a ritual was set in motion. Not a prayer for you, but a strange, silent, and dangerous ritual designed to manipulate your soul without your conscious knowing. And what's even more terrifying is, the universe has seen it all. Do you want to know what that ritual really is and why it isn't aimed at your body, but at the light within you? Then don't take your eyes off this message. There's something most people tend to overlook: the power of a photograph. Because in this physical world, we think of a photo as just paper, ink, light, and shadow. But in the unseen world, a photograph can become a replica of your soul, a doorway, a connection point, and when it falls into the wrong hands, it can become a curse. That person, they haven't forgotten you, even though you've gone far, even though you no longer look in their direction. But one night, they sit alone in a dim room, lit only by a flickering candle, and they quietly place your photo down onto a dusty wooden table. No one sees it, only a small knife wrapped in black cloth, a glass filled with reddish-brown liquid, a strand of your hair kept from a keepsake you forgot long ago. And then, they begin to whisper something. Not your name like they used to, but an ancient language, distorted, guttural, like they're speaking to something else. Something not from this world. Your photo is placed at the center of the table. Over it, they drip black candle wax, each drop a vow. No one may come close to her. No one may love him more than I do. Come back, in any form you must. They slice the tip of their finger, letting blood touch your image. Not to harm you immediately, but to bind you to them, through blood, the oldest energy of all. And so the ritual begins. There is no gong, no thunder from the sky, only a dreadful stillness, and a subtle vibration spreading from that altar, like a frequency you can't hear, but your body can feel. That night, you can't sleep. You wake in the middle of the night, not knowing why. You dream of people who no longer exist in your life. You find yourself returning to places you left long ago, places that once imprisoned you in pain. You think it's just memory, but in truth, it's the current of that ritual pulling you back. When you see someone in a dream, someone you thought you had forgotten, when you suddenly feel like you're being watched from the emptiness around you, you're not imagining it. You are being watched, not by a person, but by the unrelenting will of another soul that refuses to let go. They can't accept the loss. They can't accept that your light shines brighter when you're no longer with them. And instead of healing, they choose control. Instead of letting go, they choose to hold you through the dark. That ritual, it's not about summoning demons. It's more dangerous than that, because it uses your own memories, your own broken pieces, to build a new kind of cage, an invisible cage, one in which you still live as if everything is normal. But your soul grows weaker with each passing day. You find it hard to concentrate. You feel like you no longer believe in the future the way you once did. You feel yourself drifting, directionless. You think it's depression, you think it's exhaustion. But in truth, your life force is being drained. This is the power of image-based manipulation rituals. You don't need to see them again. You don't even have to speak to them. Just a photo, a single manipulative intention, and a trace of unresolved resentment in their heart. That alone is enough to open a doorway to the most vulnerable part of your soul. And the terrifying part is, you may be unknowingly helping them by holding on to things that belong to the past. Old photos you can't bring yourself to delete. Unread messages, left there like silent echoes. Objects you've convinced yourself are just memories, yet they still sit quietly beside your bed untouched. Each of those objects is an energetic anchor. And if they're obsessed enough, they'll know how to use it. You might be asking yourself, why would the universe let this happen? Why you, the one who tried so hard to heal, are the one who's still being affected? The answer is simple. The universe never leaves you alone. But the universe also doesn't intervene if you haven't made the clear choice to be free. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to awaken you, to remind you that if you've ever felt something was off and couldn't explain it, if you've ever felt a cold wind pass through just as you thought of someone, if you've ever seen their eyes in the mirror, even when you stood alone, then the ritual may have already begun. But don't be afraid, because in the next part, I'll show you why every dark ritual ultimately fails when the soul begins to awaken. And I'll guide you through how to reclaim your stolen energy, how to sever the invisible strings, and reignite your light more powerfully than ever before. Are you ready to step through that door? Then listen carefully, because what happens next may forever change the way you look at a photograph. There are things in your life that keep happening over and over, and if you don't know why, maybe it's not random. Because when a ritual is performed to manipulate your energy, it doesn't knock on the door loudly. It seeps in through the tiniest cracks. It disguises itself as subtle shifts in your reality. And here are 11 signs that your soul may already be under its influence. Listen to each one and be honest. How many of these have you experienced? Share your number in the comments. Not just for clarity, but because someone else might be silently going through the same thing, and your words may be the light they need. 3. You feel more tired than usual. You sleep enough. You eat well. But each day passes as if you're carrying an invisible weight on your shoulders. No one sees it, but you feel it clearly. Have you ever felt like your energy was being drained, and you couldn't explain why? 4. Old pains return, even though you thought you were healed. Your body begins to react in places you once held pain, as if someone is reactivating that hurt, not with hands, but with intention. Have you noticed a certain pain come back right when you were thinking about them? 5. Uninvited memories resurface. You're working, eating, listening to music. Then suddenly, a sorrowful memory floods your mind. It's not just a recollection. It feels like you're being pulled back and forced to live that moment all over again. Is the past chasing you? Have you ever screamed silently in your mind, "I don't want to remember"? 6. Broken clocks, flickering lights, strange electronics. Devices in your home start to act strangely. Lights flicker, alarms go off at the wrong times. Your phone shows missed calls from no one at all. Are you experiencing electronic glitches that seem beyond reason? 7. You avoid mirrors or see strange things within them. You no longer want to look in the mirror for long, because sometimes the eyes staring back don't feel like yours, or something flickers past your reflection, just for a split second, even though you're alone. Do you still trust the reflection in your mirror? Be honest. 8. Sudden, unexplained intuition. A deep, unshakable feeling comes over you that something isn't right. You check everything, everyone seems fine, but your heart is still in disarray. Have you ever had a gut feeling that turned out to be true? 9. You want to disappear. You suddenly want to vanish. You don't want to talk. You don't want to open your heart. Not because you hate anyone, but because you feel like you no longer belong here. Are you truly living or just trying to survive? 10. Wounding words play on repeat. Their voice, the things they once said that hurt you, they replay in your mind, especially when you're at your weakest. And worse, you start to believe them. Who is speaking in your mind? And why are you still listening? 11. Lately, you felt strangely held back. No matter how hard you try, everything feels stalled. And meanwhile, your intuition is screaming louder than ever. But it's also conflicted. You don't know whether to trust what you feel or if you're slowly losing your way. Have you ever felt like you're being held in place and you don't know by what? If you've experienced 3 or more of these signs, then listen closely. Your soul is knocking, asking, begging to be freed. Not everyone will understand what you're going through. Not everyone will believe that a single photograph could influence you this deeply. But I believe you, and I know what you're feeling is real. But I'm here, and I know what you're feeling is real. Share in the comments. How many of these signs have you seen in your own life? Just a number, because maybe when you write it down, you'll realize you're not the only one carrying this weight. And if you're ready to go deeper, there's something you need to know before it's too late. You see, in the world of the soul, every action creates a ripple. And no one, no matter how skilled they are at hiding it, can manipulate another person's light without sending shockwaves into the invisible realm. And the very moment they began that ritual, when they touched your photo with the wrong intention, another layer of energy began to stir. A layer that makes no sound, no fire, no thunder, but but it knows exactly what's happening to you. The universe does not stay silent. It may not intervene immediately, but it registers every trace, every tear you've swallowed, every night you sat quietly, fists clenched, because you didn't understand what was happening to you. And just as the darkness seemed to close in tighter, that was when another door began to open. Have you noticed that lately you've become irritated by things you used to tolerate? That your space suddenly feels cluttered and you want to cleanse it? You open a drawer, see an old keepsake, and for the first time, you don't want to keep it anymore. You don't know why, but your intuition is telling you, let it go. That's not instability. That's the first wave of awakening. The universe doesn't speak in words. It whispers in impulses. It doesn't come from the outside. It rises from deep within. You might feel it in the most unexpected moments. An old song plays, and you cry. Not because you missed something, but because you're finally ready to close the chapter. A friend says something ordinary, and it hits you like a divine message. You look at the sunset, and suddenly feel lighter, as if something ancient inside you just released. These signs aren't meant to comfort you. They're meant to activate you. Because when someone tries to manipulate your soul, they unknowingly awaken the forces that protect it. They can't see it, but you are being protected. A circle of light is forming, a boundary between you and everything that no longer belongs to you. And the miracle is, you don't have to understand everything. You don't have to know the whole path to move forward. You just have to trust the first whisper that comes from the quietest part of you. Feel the urge to toss an old notebook? Do it. Feel the pull to step outside without warning? Step. Feel the need to finally write down the pain you've buried? Pick up the pen and write. Because these are signals, the universe answering back. You didn't randomly become stronger lately. Your light is being reactivated. It's been asleep for a long time. Because you were tired, because you were wounded, because somewhere along the way, you believed you weren't worthy of freedom. But light, true light, is never really lost. It waits for one moment. The moment you say, I've had enough, I choose myself. And the strange thing is, you don't need to scream it. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Just one moment, where you straighten your spine, take a breath, and let go of what's held you too tightly for too long, and the current begins to shift. The universe doesn't ask you to forgive if you're not ready. The universe only asks one thing. Do not keep turning away from your soul. No one has the right to control you. No one has the authority to hold on to a part of you that you've already let go of. No photo, no curse, no ritual can ever overpower the will of an awakened soul. And if you're still listening to this, I believe you are awakening, because you've begun to look at your life, not with blame, but with a sacred question. How do I return to myself in the most whole way possible? You may not have all the answers yet, but you have the question. And that is when the universe begins to move, to send the answers your way. Through a dream, a sudden inner pull, a card, a glance, a passing rain shower, everything starts to speak to you. Once you stop staying silent with yourself. So tell me, have you been sensing these signs? Have you ever wondered why you suddenly want to delete every old contact, rearrange your room, or write down something you've never dared to put into words? If so, leave me a comment that says, I hear the signal. Because when you say it, you're not just affirming it to me. You are calling the light back into your space. And if you're ready to go deeper, I'll show you how to reclaim the energy that was taken from you, how to cut the unseen cords and call your soul back, whole, complete, and untouched. What lies ahead is no longer something to listen to. It is a sacred transformation meant for your soul. And I will walk with you if you dare to step forward. If you've come this far, maybe you've already realized something. What's been manipulating you is no longer just outside of you. It lives inside, in fear, in the unresolved memories, in the pieces of yourself you tried to patch together with silence. But now, you don't need to be silent anymore. And if you're ready to step through the doorway, don't just follow instructions. Feel every act as a sacred ritual where your soul is the officiant. You don't need to say much. Just reach for the light and let your soul remember the path home. Light a white candle, not to cast anyone out, but to look clearly at your real face, the one not covered in resentment or old memory. Let the flame reflect back at you, as if you are meeting the part of your soul that has wandered too far for too long. And if a sentence wants to be spoken, let it unlock the door. I reclaim my light. I'm ready to step out of the fog. Write their name on paper, not out of blame, but because you no longer wish to keep them in your sacred space. Each letter is a goodbye, and when you burn that piece of paper, imagine your soul unwrapping the threads that have been tied to your wrists, slowly, gently, and for good. Place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and ask gently, what do you need today to feel at peace? The answer may come in tears, or a long, deep silence, or just a single whisper from within. It's okay now. Whatever it is, promise yourself that you will listen like a child finally finding their way back into their mother's arms. Because this is not just a ritual. This is a rebirth for the part of you that was once taken. You don't need to be perfect to be healed. You only need to stop abandoning yourself. The universe doesn't ask for your strength. It asks for your honesty, that you are tired, that you've endured enough, and that you are worthy of a new beginning. If there was a moment in this journey that made your heart tremble, write it down, not for me to read, but for your soul to recognize. I heard myself. A feeling, a sentence, an image. And if you are ready to begin the healing journey, leave a comment that says, I choose to return to my light, because the moment you say it, your soul will hear it, and the very first door will open. I don't know where you are in this journey, but if you're still here, still listening, it means one thing: you've never truly been alone. And from this moment on, we walk forward together, not as victims of unseen forces, but as those who have taken back the torch of our own light. If you need more light on your path, subscribe so you don't miss the sacred messages that the universe still wants to send you. And remember, you don't need to know every answer. You only need to know one thing: your soul is still calling you home.